Hi, I'm Bob Kyler. I'm a practicing clinical psychologist and chief clinical officer of Palo Alto Health Sciences. I treat PTSD and other conditions in my practice. Always a challenging disorder to treat, even in the best of times. And so we're really kind of anticipating, unfortunately, some really mounting stressors on our general population as well as our veterans. I'm going to be talking a little bit later about some new alternative treatments available for treatment of PTSD and related conditions related to the underlying physiology associated with post-traumatic stress. Sure, happy to. And PTS is a condition sorely in need of new alternative treatments. The company that I work with, Palo Alto Health Sciences, collaborated with the Palo Alto VA and did a clinical trial for treatment of PTSD with an intervention that was originally developed for treatment of panic attacks. Panic and PTSD are related conditions in some ways. Both of them, which is perhaps not as widely known as it should be, have really significant fundamentals related to respiratory physiology, to the brain networks involved in these disorders, and to what's called CO2 hypersensitivity. Simple way of putting it, if you give somebody with PTSD or somebody with panic a single gulp of carbon dioxide enriched air, you precipitate a panic attack. In the case of PTS sufferers, you precipitate traumatic flashbacks. So this intervention was developed to really address this peculiar hypersensitivity, and it's a use-at-home intervention that is authorized by a treatment professional. It's a 28-day, twice-daily treatment that involves essentially physiologic feedback, learning how to regulate your breathing and normalize your breathing. And the only point of it, if it produces outcomes, the trials at the Palo Alto VA, 6 months post-treatment, 50% of the treatment subjects were in remission, i.e. they no longer met criteria for PTS. Over 80% had clinically significant reductions in their PTSD symptoms. There were secondary reductions in depression, in suicidal ideation. And on the basis of this study, it was cleared by the FDA as a treatment for post-traumatic stress as well as for panic. Yeah, the intervention is called FreeSpira. You can get some information at freespira.com. It consists of a physiologic sensor that measures your respiration. It measures your respiration rate and your exhaled CO2 level. And it's played back on a computer screen. And your job is to take 17 minutes twice a day to yourself and learn how to regulate your breathing. Further, in these particular conditions, panic and PTSD have some really sort of respiratory and brain particularities, which is why we focus in the way that we do. And it teaches you how to normalize your respiratory physiology. But I think as important as that is, it teaches you a self-management skill. When things are feeling out of control, when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling panicky, when you've been triggered, there's something healthy and productive that you can do. So this is a 1-month treatment, but what we find is that when people use it regularly, they really retrain their brain to breathe in a normal fashion, and they've developed a skill so that rather than letting that panicky breathing escalate, they can recreate the training that they used using this intervention to basically to normalize their physiology, at the same time to really do something health positive when they feel like their stress is mounting. You can look us up at freespira.com, freespira.com. A lot of information about the research, about the technology, about access.